Welcome back to Real Ag Radio. It is time for the Farmer Rapid Fire every Thursday. And every Thursday, we get to speak to a Pioneer Seeds Canada rep. John Seliga joins me now from near London, Ontario. How are you, John?
Very well. Thank you, Lindsay.
Now, it hasn't been maybe the greatest week for planting progress in the province, but where are we at?
Well, we were definitely behind where we thought we might be in the middle of April. We were anticipating a very early start to the season, and it hasn't turned out to be that way. We've been cooler early on, cooler and wetter, and now we're warmer and wetter. We have recently got a nice little start on some of the lighter ground, and hope is abundant in the countryside.
Hope and also very large weeds. Because
Yes,
as you
yes,
mentioned, warm,
yeah,
early, we've got some extra heat units. How should farmers be approaching some of these well-advanced weeds when there's no crop in the ground?
yeah. So there's we've been up against some high winds. Sprayers have had small windows of opportunity between wet ground and the wind situation. But if you're going out to kill weeds this spring in Ontario, you need to be using full rate of your preferred product, and you you do not want to hold back. The sooner you can get at them, the better. I have seen the odd field that was probably taken care of earlier than it should have been, unfortunately. And these are the kinds of emotional things that happen in a delayed spring. We start making decisions that we otherwise wouldn't. And but yeah, big weeds, use the full rate of herbicide, try to get at them sooner rather than later.
Now, I mean, we are early May, and because the weather doesn't look great, it can make us a bit anxious, but we're still early May. So how are you broaching the subject of patience and waiting till it is
Yes.
really go time?
Yes, yeah, and certainly in the part of the province where I'm situated, the banana belt, as we like to call it, uh, there's certainly no need to be considering any kind of maturity changes anytime soon. We can easily stick with Plan A right through till near the end of the month, and there's a lot of days between now and then. So we're counting on Mother Nature helping us out that way. I think if you have stretched your limits of maturity, or you were taking some gambles with some products that are longer than you would normally consider, then you should maybe look into maybe swapping those out earlier rather than later. But if you are in your maturity zone, uh, it is fine to continue with that plan right through to the end of the month.
We still have time.
We still
Yep.
have time. And I highly recommend that you don't try to rush fields. Good agronomic practices still trump planting date. Planting date's important, but there's a lot of other factors that we need to consider, and we don't want to get the wrong foot forward when we put the planter in the field if the conditions aren't fit.
Absolutely. Now, you did mention, of course, the weeds are well advanced. The winter wheat crop is as well. How important is scouting your winter wheat crop right now?
Well, there's actually just recently there was a need or a desire to get a bunch of herbicide on the wheat crop, and it has moved so quickly and it's so far advanced. There's actually a lot of acres of winter wheat in our part of the world that just got bypassed for herbicide because it was too late.
Wow.
And so now what we have now is really people scouting for maybe some disease. There's some talk about stripe rust showing up in the Midwest earlier than it typically does, and that's something we want to keep an eye on. Stripe rust can be problematic. It's not it's not a regular disease we see year over year, but when we do see it, it can create some problems. So
Hmm.
keep an eye out. We can use a T2 fungicide anytime now to help control, and being proactive on that is not a bad thing. And then honestly, we're not very far from heading, and we could see some early planted wheat heading out by the middle to the third week of May, and then we'll be looking at a T3 fungicide. So
That just, I'll be honest, that just blows my mind a little. It's
it
really
it
early.
it is
Yeah.
incredibly early. No, normally we start to see heads popping that last week of May, more into the 1st of June,
Hmm.
and so we are well ahead, and it's a big crop. Like it's
Yeah.
a beautiful looking crop.
All right. Okay. So stay patient. Calendar date matters, but conditions matter more. So let's,
Exactly.
all right. And let's hope for the best on this forecast. If somebody could tap Mother Nature and let her know, we'd like a little more dryness.
Lindsay, please make
Okay.
that happen.
Okay. I'm going to work on it. Thanks, John. Thanks so much for joining me on the show today.
Thanks, Lindsay. Talk to you later.